Hi guys, I'm Andrea Alt. I've been working here in the tasting room at Hartenberg for about 2 years now, so my face might look slightly familiar to those who have visited.
Hello, I'm Roderick Moyo and I work here in the tasting room. I've worked here for a couple of years now and I'd like to talk to you about one of our favorite varieties, Riesling.
So Roderick, what exactly is a Riesling?
Riesling is a white grape variety from Germany. Here in South Africa, it was known before as Weisse Riesling or Rhine Riesling. So not to get it confused with the Cape Riesling, which is not Riesling at all. It's a grape called Cruchon. So here at Hartenberg, we have Riesling proper, and because of its versatility, we make it into 4 different styles in specific and some vintages. And we'll talk about 2 today.
So there's a reason we have 2 different Rieslings here.
Yes. With Riesling, it's one of the most versatile grape varieties. It can be made in any style from very dry to very sweet or dessert wine style, and all levels in between as well. So here at Hartenberg, every vintage will make our dry style Riesling, which you'll see there on the right hand side, and then in specific vintages we'll make occasional Riesling, hence the name occasional.
So it's only occasionally made?
Yes.
How do you get the difference in the wine? Why is one dry and the other one off dry?
Our dry style Riesling is thunderously good. Our dry style Riesling is made every year, and it is fermented to dryness, so there's no perceptible sweetness in the final wine, and you'll get Riesling's characteristic citrus and floral notes, which eventually develop into something of a petroleum characteristic. It actually sounds better than it sounds. Tastes better than it sounds, excuse me. Whereas the occasional Riesling is made only in specific years when we get something called noble rot in the vineyards. The noble rot essentially shrivels the berries, which then concentrates the flavors and the sweetness inside of the grapes. That's why we'll get a sweetness in the wine, hence off dry. We have also the balancing acidity that we get from the botrytized grapes, as well as the lemon flavor in Riesling becoming quite tangy, so it's a sweet and sour play on the palate.
Now, I heard you mention noble rot. I've heard of a noble late harvest. Is this a dessert wine?
No, the occasional Riesling is not a dessert wine. With noble late harvest, the majority of the grapes would have been affected by the noble rot, whereas with this, half of the grapes have indeed been affected, meaning that there will still be another half which would provide a balance to the wine to make it off dry rather than lusciously sweet, which is what a noble late harvest would be. So it's got a bit of sweetness, but very well balanced by very good acidity and that lemon zesty characteristic. Very pleasant indeed.
Now Roderick, I live in Stellenbosch, so I like to drink my things cool. Do I serve these chilled, or how do I serve them?
Well, it is indeed a white wine, and so we do recommend it served chilled, but even more so for the occasional Riesling with a touch of sweetness, we'd recommend something between 6 and 8 degrees Celsius, which would be fridge temperature, so that the sweetness doesn't become a bit sticky on the palate. But both between that temperature range would do very well indeed.
Okay, so I'm definitely taking a bottle of each, but I need to ask you, what do I cook with them if I'm having guests over?
Riesling, what we do love about it as well is that it's one of the more versatile food pairing wines. So let your kitchen be your oyster, I do say. It pairs very well with many different types of dishes. We found that it works very well indeed with sushi and Asian style foods, which happen to have a bit of a spicier kind of note. With the occasional Riesling, you can take it a bit further and have something with a touch of sweetness to it, so like your crispy pork belly, which has got a sweet glaze to it, and I think that works very well indeed.
Now Roderick, I'm going to ask you a very serious question. Are you coming over for dinner tomorrow?
Trey, you know you can't cook.